One-hander or two-hander? Which should you choose? And if you've already played with one, should you consider switching? In this video, I'm going to tell you the pros and cons and whether you should or should not switch. Why do we see predominantly two hands now? Simple answer, it's a lot easier to learn, it's a lot easier to teach. People, and it doesn't matter whether it's adult or juniors, they're just successful quicker because you have the stability of the offhand, you're making contact better, you have more consistency, and it's just more fun, so it's more rewarding. And it's an absolute pain in the hiney to teach a one-hander. Just ask my dad. So starting with the benefits of two hands, you can have a variety of grips. Usually we teach bottom hand, for me that's my right, a continental grip, and then my top hand, that's my left, an Eastern forehand grip. You can also hit with an Eastern forehand grip on the bottom hand. There's a whole range. And if you're not rock solid with the grip, you get away with a whole lot of variety on the grip. Whereas on the one-hander, if you don't have the perfect grip, your Eastern backhand grip, yeah, it's going to be really difficult and you're missing a lot. We usually teach the same strike zone for both, one-hander and two-hander, ideally between hip and shoulder. However, for a two-hander, because you do have the help of your offhand, a lot of people are more comfortable hitting these higher balls and or even above your strike zone, which you should not make a habit. But as a one-hander, to constantly be up here, that's really taxing and it's really difficult. On the other hand, a one-hander usually is a little bit more comfortable with lower balls, especially really low balls, because you do have a limitation in reach on the two-hander. On the one-hander, when you do have a shorter ball, to me, it feels a lot easier to let that racket head drop below the ball and then still being able to get under the ball. The other variation that you have, of course, is the slice. And usually, one-handers have a much easier time hitting a slice because they just hit it more often, number one. They are just more dominant, of course, with their right hand, if it's a right-hander, and you've just over time developed more skills and feel. And I've seen plenty of one-handers with great slices, but I've also seen a lot of two-handers that either don't have the most effective slice or it's plain out ugly. The other benefit with the slice is that when you're stretched wide on a return, you can chip it back, you just have more reach. You can just block it back here. Now, if we do talk about the return when somebody hits with pace, and to be honest, that kind of hurt me at the end of my career. When I started, people did not serve over 100 miles per hour. So I had plenty of time. At the end of my career, 100, 105 was average. And of course, with a one-hander, yeah, you're just not as stable, you're just not as strong. That is where the two-hander, of course, has a huge advantage. However, if it's a body serve, the one-hander has more of an advantage because I'm going to be able to get the racket out in front of me, whereas on a two-hand, the contact point will be further out to the side. So that's when I have to get my entire body out of the way, and that might not be possible when somebody hits bombs. Whether you are a one-hander or a two-hander, if you are a singles player, you need the Singles Playbook by Fuzzy Yellow Balls, the sponsor of today's video. I'm going to pop a link down in the description, but what you get is dozens and dozens of plays designed to beat any type of player that you might encounter. You can just look through them, or you hover over the QR codes and you will get a video that describes the play in its details. Go get it. Link is down below in the description. Let's talk about the contact points. For a one-hander, it tends to be further in front because you have that Eastern backhand grip, or if you were Justine Na, you actually came over it a little bit more. So you're able to make contact a little bit further in front. A two-hander, as we already said, on the return is usually a little bit more to the side of your body. Still in front, but a little bit more to the side, especially if you have variations of the grip. One of the huge advantages of the earlier contact point is that it makes transitioning to net a whole lot easier. So think about all the great volleyers, Navratilova, Novotná, and then on the men's side, Edberg, Sampras, Federer, they all have one-handers. Now, which has more power? kind of torn. I don't feel that I'm necessarily hitting the ball with less power, but I do feel as a one-hander, I have to be in perfect position and I have to work a lot harder than a two-hander who can add the stability and of course the strength of the second arm to it. On the other hand, to my mind, the one-hander allows me to be a lot more crafty because I can switch more easily into a slice. I can roll over the ball a little bit more easily. Whereas with a two-hander, I feel a little bit more restricted doing that. So again, pros and cons for both. And also, if you want to see that women can hit a powerful one-handed backhand, look at Diane Paris and Victoria Golubic. There are women out there right now playing a one-hander. Now, we've covered pretty much all the disadvantages, the benefits of either. Should you switch? I think you should not switch for possibly the worst reason on the planet, and that was the reason I switched. I thought the one-hander looked super cool. Until I was 11 years old, I actually hit with two hands. The really good thing was, though, that my dad always had me in a continental grip. So that made it a whole lot easier to just switch over one bevel for my one-hander. But what are the other reasons that you should switch? For instance, if you're physically limited. Now, when you look at my two-hander, I feel I'm stiff as a board. I don't have the range of motion anymore to come all the way through. And I've found that mostly adults have the same issues. So if you are physically limited, a one-hander might give you more reach. If you lack variety, one example that we have there is Dominic Thiem. His coach actually thought he was not able to be more creative with a two-hander, so they switched him to a one-hander. If you do have a two-hander and you do want to add more variety, before you switch completely to a backhand drive with the one-hander, work on the slice, because you will make all the other two-handers hate you. What you definitely want to consider if you are thinking about switching is it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort, and you have to be willing to put in the time. Switching a grip, switching a complete swing can be really frustrating. So if you're not willing or able to do that, you might be better off just staying in the shot that you have, even if it's not perfect. Now, if you do want to work on your one-hander, if you want to switch, if you have it, you want to get better at it, check out this video. It's the one-handed backhand tutorial.